We have YouTube sensations on the show today, The Life of Lucia and Glynn, spelled with 2 N's. They're with us today, and you're watching the girls here on SSP TV. We're glad to have you guys on.
Thank you.
I know, during COVID, a lot of creativity came out of everyone. So you created this YouTube channel during 2020, right? During
Correct.
COVID. So welcome. Tell us about yourselves.
You go first.
Well, I can tell you, many people are defined by what they do. We are defined by the fun that we have. And in 2020, we got put on hold with all of our fun, like the rest of the world did. And we decided to take and showcase some of the things that we had done before COVID in some YouTube videos. So our YouTube videos come off more like a let's show you around where we are. And at that point, we had probably been to at least 25 different countries between 2016 and 2019.
That's it.
It doesn't sound like a lot at this point, does it?
I want what she's having.
We started to travel internationally in 2016. We got to go to Tokyo, Japan. We spent 5 days on the Tokyo Express and got to experience what it was like to go to the future. Going to Japan is like going to the future. And while we were there, we got to visit Tokyo Disneyland. Now, they have 2 parks at Tokyo Disneyland. They have Tokyo Disneyland, and they have Tokyo Disney Sea.
So if you're going to Tokyo, go to Disney Sea.
First, and then go to Disneyland
Exactly.
second. Because Disneyland is just like the ones in the U.S. or in Paris or in Hong Kong or in Shanghai. But at Disney Sea, the first thing that we noticed the young teenage couples do was to go to the gift shop and buy matching shirts for themselves.
Oh.
So we saw these little teenage couples walking around the park all day long with their matching shirts on. I said, before we leave here, we are going to get our own set of matching shirts. And that's when the matching shirt thing actually began, and that's why it began. Because we liked the childlike whimsy that this evoked in the Japanese kids that were over there, and today we have over 200 shirts on our rod in our bedroom, and with that we don't have to wear the same shirt twice in 3 months.
So wait, do you wear the same shirt every day?
Every day.
Every day it's a different matching shirt.
Right. Every day.
There's only one time of year that we do not match, and that's football season.
Because I'm a Steelers fan. And what are you?
Cowboys.
She's a Cowboys fan. So what do you think about that? Would you wear the same shirt as your husband every day?
The same color.
Maybe the same color.
The same color sometimes,
Okay.
but yeah, it depends on where we're going. I wouldn't mind doing twinning.
Yeah.
That's really cool too.
I am a twin, so growing up we did wear the same.
Exactly.
Oh, you were twins, so you know what it's all about.
How do you select where you're going to go to? Like, how do you know
How do we
where you're
select
going?
what shirt we're going to wear or where we're going to go?
Where you're going to go.
Both.
Okay.
This guy.
I can tell you, I am the 4th out of 5 boys in my family. So I have 4 brothers. I have 3 older than me, and I have 1 younger than me.
And he used to read out of an Encyclopedia Britannica every day when he was younger, determining where he wanted to go someday.
I wasn't allowed to change the television channel, but my mother had a set of Encyclopedia Britannica on the shelf behind where she would sit down and watch TV. And instead of watching TV, because I didn't want to watch what everybody else was watching, I would pick up the Encyclopedia Britannica and I would make these mental notes, and I would say, someday I am going to go see that castle in the snow-covered valley. Someday I am going to go to see Cristo Redentor statue in Rio de Janeiro. And it's because of all of these little mental notes that I made that we figure out what we're going to do, where we're going to go, and we get there.
He packs my bags and he tells me, let's go. And I say, okay.
Well, it's easy. You get a pair of slacks and all your matching shirts, and away you go.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's easy to pick the tops.
What do you do for a living? Like,
How do you get all this time off?
Me, I'm a tax accountant.
Okay.
And my 3 children are all working for me presently. My oldest daughter has been with me over 10 years, and she's my right hand in the office. My son has his CPA for a couple of years now, and he can take over wherever I leave off.
And he's about to get married.
My youngest, her boyfriend's parents actually live a
1
mile from here. 1 mile from you guys.
From the studio.
Yeah.
And we threatened to go and stalk them while we were down this way.
Well, you're from Scranton.
Yeah.
Live in Scranton.
Both of us were born and raised in Scranton, and during the pandemic, I took Lucia to Tanglewood Ski Area, which had closed down about 10 years beforehand, and it overlooks Lake Wallenpaupack, because I wanted to show her where I skied when I was in the 7th grade. She isn't a skier at all, but I took her there, and I was going to show her the ski slopes, and maybe we're going to take a hike up the ski slopes.
Every time he tries to teach me, I get a fallout plan. I just fall over and say, I can't do this.
I can't do this.
I like that.
And the tears make the skis go away.
Yes.
But
Noted.
while we were there, I would call it a 3-hour vacation, because we were working 14 hours a day during pandemic to get everybody's taxes situated and the grants and the loans and all of this stuff that they needed. And before we got to the top of the hill at Tanglewood on our 3-hour vacation, I saw a fellow washing his truck in his driveway. And I said, buddy, I said, is that the ski slope in your backyard? And he said, yes, it is. He had this big smile on his face. He said, we love living here. We drove 100 yards up the road, and we saw a house for sale. We wrote down the number, and 44 days later, they were handing us the keys.
Oh my Lord, that's
And we were one of the first people to buy a house after the real estate markets
Wow.
opened up during pandemic. And the day we moved in, I proposed to Lucia at the top of the
I'm
ski
still mad at
slope.
him for this.
It was a big surprise to her. She had no idea that she was getting proposed to, but her mom was there, my dad was
They were
there,
all in on
all
it.
of our family, everyone who helped us to move, and she said yes. She said yes.
Even though I made you live on a ski slope.
Yes, exactly. I didn't have a choice.
We set up a pandemic wedding in October of 2020. We had 100 people. We had a giant tent. We had a band.
threw the
Everything
event
was
online.
outdoor and catered by the restaurant up the street. We had 2 sets of videographers there, so there is some very good footage of our wedding
yeah.
out there.
It's a doozy.
And that happened just 60 days after? No. 93 days after we moved in. We got married at the top
I
of the
love
ski
that.
slope.
I love that.
So you're not impulsive at all.
We were not going looking for a house.
I'm going to have them stop. Fun and Funny are going to be back with us.
Fun and Funny.
Fun and Funny. We have Life with Lucia and Glenn, spelled with 2 N's.
Glynn.
They're on with us today, and they have a YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's called The Life of Lucia and Glenn. They're
Glynn.
funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Glynn.
Glenn. I'm
Glynn.
saying Glenn, right?
Yeah, Glynn.
All right, we'll be right back. You're watching The Girls on SSP TV.
Welcome back to The Girls. Our guests today are Lucia and Glynn, and we are experiencing the life and adventures of Lucia and Glynn because they're YouTube sensations, and they've been to how many countries?
Almost 50 countries.
50 countries.
Almost.
You just pick up and go.
Pick up and
it's
go.
just- how do you know where you're going? I mean, who picks it?
I hope
Who
they
knows
book
what to
it.
do? I mean, Glynn, it seems to be like you're steering the direction of everything. But what happens? You get up in the morning and just say, "We're going to China."
We'll plan it months in advance. Like coming up, we have a lot of great adventures coming up. And I'm a travel agent. I do it for fun. I don't really do it full-blown professional, although I am getting more and more interested in doing it. But he'll say, hey, we're going to go here, so let's book this. He'll be the one to go out and find all the things to do on Viator, all the things to do, if it's a cruise line, what are we going to do? And then next thing you know, we're flying in a couple days ahead of time, not the day of, to avoid losing the ship. And then we stay a couple days after, and then we just find fun along the way, because it's easier to create your own adventure than go with the ship or with the tour group, unless you really have to, which...
Well, tell us about some of your fun adventures.
Let's see. I think my favorite all-time adventure that I've been on was going to see the Disney Castle for the very first time. That was California, right?
Florida.
That was in Florida. That was my favorite because that was the very first Disney park I went to since Japan. But then after going to the mall, it's like, okay, which one's my favorite one? And it will always be Tokyo Disney because there's just something about Japan that really sets well with us. We can go over there, lose our cell phone, it's back to us by the end of the day, or you're out there eating, enjoying the food, and they're giving you more and more and more because they appreciate Americans being there. And it's so clean. It's like you can literally eat off the floor of the subway there. That's how much we love it. And there's no crime, there's no nothing.
Really? Tell us about the food in Japan because they eat some crazy stuff. And I know that you two have also
the
tried
food
things.
for us, we love, what's it called?
Karaage chicken?
Karaage chicken, which is just fried chicken, but it's really good because they cook it a little bit different than they do here. And then there's octopus balls, which is takoyaki.
Takoyaki.
And it's really hot. You have to really wait for the stuff to cool down before you even touch it, or you will burn your mouth.
It's kind of like a hush puppy with a piece of octopus in the middle of it.
And
so
then,
octopus balls.
And then, of course, you've got your seafood pancake. What's that called? I forget.
Onomiyaki.
Yeah. That's
Which
another
is a
delicacy.
scallion
That's how you remember
pancake.
Zealous.
But everywhere
like,
we go,
"What's that called?
it's chicken on a sticker, it's meat on a sticker, it's
And sushi. You
sushi.
can't go wrong with
yeah,
sushi.
you can't. That's the best place to get it. But Japan's always my favorite.
So what do you do? You just put your adventures online, or?
Basically, what we'll do is, and this is how we do it, we'll get to a spot, I'll turn on the camera, and I just count down, I just say, where are we now? And he just goes with it. And it's not all the time that he's recording me, it's more of me recording him because he's a very extraordinary speaker. He's like the Encyclopedia Britannica up here, and he just, talks, and it just flows so much better. But we're getting better now because now we're including, B-roll, which you don't see a lot of these days when you're seeing videos like ours, or we're including pictures, or we're including special guests. So we want to make it so that if someone's literally on the adventure with us, like on one of our cruises, it's like they're right there and they're meeting everybody and doing stuff with us along the way.
So you take everybody along with you.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I know a lot of the ones that I get to see with you, you're in unusual places, but then you always visit a restaurant and you're food critics.
Hey,
So you're the
when you come to Cape Canaveral,
Yes.
you know where
We're
your
going to
stop
a
is.
restaurant.
Yes, it's on our list.
Sage
you have to go to
Bistro.
the Sage Bistro.
All
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Have you been to Hawaii?
Yes, we've been to Hawaii.
Tell us about that.
Well, that was back in 2018?
17.
I'm always wrong. See what I
You
mean?
are so wrong, Lucia.
And you admit it.
we were in Kauai, Hawaii in 2017 with his children, and it was just a completely different experience than what we're used to doing. Because for me and him, when people say, well, why don't you just sit on a beach and drink all day? It's like, no, we can't do that. We have to be constantly
We have to be
moving around.
entertained.
We have to be entertained, and we get bored easily. But Kauai was amazing because every day we would go with his kids and we would go somewhere else, or they would go out and they were doing their own things. We all rented open air Jeeps and we just went around the island, and every day we landed at the same restaurant and we ate the same food every day with the fish.
Tell them about you swimming where it said no swimming allowed.
Did you jump off cliffs and stuff?
No.
She wasn't actually swimming. She was on the beach, sitting
So
down.
I'm sitting on the beach, and there's signs everywhere. There's no swimming,
swimming
no
allowed.
swimming, no swimming. So I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, this big wave comes up and pulls me in
And
to
dragged her
the
in the
ocean like
ocean.
Jurassic Park. I'm trying to go like this. Next thing I know, all
She
my
was being disrobed at the same time.
I was disrobed. My son-in-law comes running. He's like, "Come
Save
up!"
her. To save her.
Because he was saving my undergarments out in the air, out in the ocean.
But the waves there are killer waves.
were bad.
There's a reason for the sign that says no swimming.
So it pulled you right in.
Pulled me
Pulled
right
her
in.
right in.
That's why
she
I'm
was
afraid to
sitting
swim.
on the beach.
I was sitting on the beach doing nothing.
Talk about an undertow.
It's true.
Oh my God.
It's true. So the hotel that we stayed at actually had a giant breakwater built.
Thank God.
So that you could swim in the lagoon and you could enjoy the ocean, because other than that, you could get dragged out to sea.
Have you guys been to France?
Yes.
When was the last time you
Tell
were to
us.
France?
22?
22.
Oh, I got it right this time.
We love to go to Europe for the European Christmas markets.
Yes.
And in Germany, they are over the top, and it really, really, really feels like Christmas when you're
yeah.
there. Now, when we were in France, we had 4 days in Paris, and then we got on the Channel Tunnel. We had 4 days in London.
Yep.
But all the while, we were seeking out these Christmas markets in Paris, and each one was better than the last. And they would serve their specialty was raclette. Have you heard of this?
Recollect.
Raclette is a giant wheel of cheese that they put a burner on the top of it to melt it, and then they'll grab a piece of rye bread or a baguette and they'll scrape the burning melted cheese off of it and put it on that piece of
You
bread.
talk about a grilled cheese.
Outstanding.
Oh, it's better than a grilled cheese.
We've had some frog's legs here and there. Tastes like chicken, right? But our trip to for any trip to Paris is not complete without visiting the Eiffel Tower. And as a matter of fact, our hotel had a rooftop bar with a beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower. And the night before we were leaving, the whole family got together to go up into the Eiffel Tower.
Cool.
So we have some photographic evidence
And the London
from up
Eye we
there.
did with your son. That was cool.
And we did the London Eye once we got over to London, and we really
Packed it in.
experienced a lot in 4 days in one city and 4 days in another.
You do all of these cities in 4 days.
Some of them.
We did, yeah.
That's
Now,
amazing.
when we go to Japan and Taiwan coming up in September, we're gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you have to be.
I'm gonna be sitting on the ship, just enjoying my time.
How do you get adjusted to the time change?
It's hard sometimes. It depends
hard
on
being you guys,
which
man.
direction we're going in. And sometimes when we go to Asia, you're on a plane for 16 or 18 hours. And I can only sleep for 6 hours at a clip. I mean,
Not me, I could sleep
so
16.
I could never sleep 16 or 18
If you
hours.
allowed me to.
But the last time we went, we arrived in Kyoto, the former capital of Japan, and went out to eat, went back and crashed at the hotel, and she woke up at 4:30 in the morning. She said, I can't sleep anymore.
Raring to go.
I can't sleep anymore.
So we got in a cab and
Call a cab.
We went to one of the temples at 6 in the
We
morning.
went to one of the temples that opens at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Kiyomizu-dera.
In Kiyomizu-dera, if you ever saw pictures of it, it is swarmed with people.
It is.
All of our pictures have no people in them because we were there before everybody else. And it was because of that adjusting to
I
the
love
time
that.
change.
That helped you out. We're going to take a short break and we'll still take you around the world when we come back on The Girls.
Absolutely.
It's a funny show today. If you want to giggle, I'm telling you, you need to watch the rebroadcast. This one, she doesn't, again, what are you taking?
You know what? Everybody asks me that. I've been like this since I'm 5 years old.
You just laugh all the time?
And I think it's because, I'm just have a lot of energy, but being with him, it's never boring. We could be on the most stupidest adventure for the most stupid reason, and he always finds something to just change it up like that.
That's funny.
the best.
So we kept saying during the break, tell us what you do.
What do you do?
Smarty pants. I'm a title and tag agent. I actually own my own business. It's called Audubon Title and Tag in Scranton, but the full name to it is Audubon Title, Tag, and Adventure Travel. And I sell license plates for PennDOT, for the DMV.
There you go.
So,
Why did you name your business Audubon?
and the funny thing, here's Mr. Interjectory again. Why did you name your business Audubon? Back in
18?
I was going to say 19. 2018, we
It
were
might
in,
be 17.
we were in Germany. You don't even know. We were in Germany going to a famous metal concert with the band Doro Pesch. Their drummer, Johnny D, is actually from this area.
From right around here somewhere.
Here, Allentown area. And he said, I have a surprise for you, because he saw we were 2 hours away. And he said, come out and see me. So he showed up 2 hours later. He came out with all this swag for us, all this signed stuff by the band. He said, hang on to these tickets. At the end of the show, I got another surprise for you. We got to go backstage and meet everybody. Doro was sick, but we interviewed her when we used to do a radio podcast years ago. This was like right in the very beginning days of our adventure. And we got to meet the whole band and stuff. Well, coming home, somebody decided to go a little too fast off of the Autobahn and got 2 speeding tickets for it.
So you can drive as fast as you want on the Autobahn?
Yes.
But when you're getting off of the exit, there is a speed limit.
And a flashing camera.
Traffic cams. I got 2 speeding tickets in the mail. It was only like $50 a piece or $40 a piece.
$35.
But it was enough to give a name to Lucia's business. So
Yep.
Audubon Title and Tag was born
Yeah,
of a couple of
was.
speeding tickets
Well
in
done.
Germany. Yes.
More countries. Which countries do you want to go to still?
Well, November we're going to go to Rio. That's been on my radar since I met him in the beginning, because I was supposed to go and I didn't go for just reason. So I'm finally getting to go to see my final wonder of the world. That's one. And I really would love to go to Australia. That one's on my bucket list now too. We were supposed to do that during the pandemic, but that didn't happen. So hopefully 2027 we're looking at, because we already planned our adventures for next year, and then 2026 we're going to do all stateside. We're going to do something different.
How many states or how many trips do you take in a year?
1 a month? 2 a month?
After tax season, because
course.
I can't go anywhere between January and
it's
April.
120 days of hell.
But between May and December, we usually get in a trip about once a month.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a long weekend, like the Connecticut and Maine. We left on Wednesday and we were back on Sunday.
Or New York City.
Does this
we
count
left-
as a trip? A
Yes,
day trip?
it does.
I was day tripping.
Yeah.
We did 3 different trips to Canada. Last December, we went to Quebec City for their Christmas markets. At the beginning of June, we went to Formula One in Montreal, and we got to see the Formula One racers there. And July, we went to Toronto,
Yeah.
and we were hanging out with a former member of the Canadian Parliament there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're hanging out with
We met
senators
her,
in Canada.
Yeah, we met her in Peru, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, who are some of the famous people you've run into, or celebrities, or?
Well, on Sunday we got to see Borderlands movie in the movie theater, which stars Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, I rode a light rail train out in California a couple of years back and met Jamie Lee Curtis on the train.
That's cool.
And where was the train going? I was going to The Price is Right.
Oh my God.
So you have to tune in and see if I won the car.
We've also met the lead singer from Hailstorm. We've also met Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. We've also met
David Ellefson from Megadeth,
Yeah,
too.
David Ellefson, yeah.
And Ripper Owens, Tim Ripper
Ripper
Owens,
Owens
former
from-
Judas Priest singer. Bruce Dickinson, singer for Iron
He
Maiden.
doesn't shake anybody's hands but ours.
But we had matching shirts with the Iron Maiden logo, and they were a soccer
custom
jersey
made.
from Greece. And he said, "I've never seen a shirt like that before." And he shook our hands.
Everybody was mad.
He was autographing his autobiography for us.
Wow.
Yeah, so we meet them as we go.
So do you bring home souvenirs? What do you have?
He brings home magnets, I bring home keychains.
They travel light and they're
Very
usually
light.
inexpensive.
I love that. Magnets are my thing.
Sometimes shirts, depending. It has to be a soccer jersey because he won't wear a T-shirt. So it's got to be a
I
certain
need 2 more
material.
refrigerators at this point.
Just the magnet
The
wall.
one is
Yeah.
full.
Yeah, it's
and,
full.
we are gonna install
He has
a
bags
magnet
and
wall.
bags of more.
So do you keep a photo album, or is your YouTube your photo album?
He takes the photos, and then we keep the YouTube as just like a secondary kind of ordeal. So it works hand in hand.
I used to, when I would go on a trip, I would pick my 8 or 10 favorite pictures and turn them into a collage poster. And these posters are still on my wall to this
From
day.
day one that need to be updated.
But many of those posters, they were taken with a camera where you had to take it to get it developed.
Oh,
You would have
wow.
to shoot film.
In the dinosaur days.
So today is like a dream come true for somebody who's a real photographer, because I could take 100 pictures today and I could find the best ones in there. And I think the best camera I ever had is the phone that's in my pocket.
Truth.
You know, we're so lucky because this area has so many ordinary people that do
does.
extraordinary things.
It does.
And that's what we like to highlight, because it's like everybody has some kind of great thing that they're doing, just to share it with everybody. And you've found that going online and putting your trips and whatever, what are some of the comments that people have?
Do you want to tell him the big one, or do you want me to say it?
Go ahead.
You sure?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who handed you your silver spoon in life?
Oh,
Oh,
so now I'm the sugar daddy, right?
oh, okay.
Some of them are like,
we do get some of that.
some of them will always say that. There's always one person that always says that. But other people are like, how do you do what you do? How do you stay so happy every day? How do you, have such a great relationship? And we tell everybody, because it's actually a creed tattooed on my shoulders: honesty, love, respect, and trust. Peace, hope, and happiness. That's it. We've lived by it since day one we met, because I can still remember him saying, some days will be better than others, but in the end it's going to be great. And it's always been like that ever
Now,
since.
the real fascinating part is that we sleep together, we eat together, we travel to work together.
We're never
Her
separated.
office is right next door to mine, with an adjoining back door, and then we travel everywhere together too. So we are together all of the time.
Like co-joined twins.
And then when we're not, then we have a problem.
Well, you know what? In a previous life, I would go places and do things without my ex-wife, and now I can't imagine doing anything without
You
Lucia.
found your soulmate.
That's how I was. Everything without my ex-husband. Now I go with him. That's it.
I love it.
And I don't complain. Wherever he goes, I say, okay. I may give him a big him and high if we're going to run out of gas or something like that on the way to get there. But once you get
Or
there,
he makes you climb a mountain or go skiing. So enough of that.
Once we get there, then I have no more complaints.
All right. Well, Life with Lucia and Glynn, Glynn. So you can look them up on YouTube. They are funny. Just if you want to belly laugh,
Check out our shorts. They're worst.
Check it out because they are funny. Guys, thank you for coming on the show.
No problem.
Thank you for having us. We
us.
had a really nice
Thanks
time.
again. I feel like I know you because of watching so much and then speaking with you on the phone. So keep the adventures going, and
Absolutely.
maybe sometimes we'll join you. This is your first television appearance.
Yes, first
Absolutely.
Premiere.
Put it on the books.
We can't wait to come back again because I'll talk your ear off.
Okay, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on The Girls.
Bye.